Hello everybody and welcome to my channel. I'm your host Tambucha. Today we are in Nobara 38 and we will be looking at something that I haven't tried before. Now on a side note, although I like Nobara very much, it's one of my default distros along with CashOS here, and the link for Nobara is here. One problem I do have with Nobara is I was running Nobara 37 and I tried to do an upgrade to Nobara 38 via the terminal, and when I rebooted it froze my system. So if you're running Nobara 37, I don't recommend you upgrading to 38 that way. So basically I had to do a fresh install of Nobara 38. But that's just a side note. Today we're not looking at Nobara. We're going to be looking at this distribution called Peppermint. And I never tried it before, so this will be a new experience for me. But if we go to the link from DistroWatch here, there's a link to their homepage. And it gives you a bit of information about Peppermint. There's a download link here. And I chose this one here. Now I already downloaded it and made a bootable USB stick out of it. Now from Nobara you have the Fedora Media Writer, so that's the tool I use to create the ISO. So without further ado, let's get into it. Okay, so I have a video of the install process. I did this using a screen capture card. So this is the screen you're met with once you create the bootable USB stick and you boot it up for the first time. All I did is I double clicked on install Peppermint, and then that starts up the installer. Click next. And here it did not detect my proper location, so I had to change it to Toronto. And from here, since I have a multi-boot setup, I chose manual partitioning. So I'm going to be installing it on my other drive. This drive here, and since it's a UEFI setup, I have to have a mount point named /boot/EFI on a FAT32 partition. Then I'm going to be installing it on the 100 gig partition, so I created a new file system, set the mount point to / which is root, and named it as Peppermint. So after that was done, the next step is just filling in your name, your login, and the password. By the way, Peppermint is a minimal style spin of Debian 12. Okay, so here, that's the point of no return. Hit install. It starts installing, and of course I did not record all of that, but to be honest it didn't take that too much time. It took, I would say, less than 10 minutes, so it was a very fast install. So after I installed it to my computer, I shut it down, took out the USB stick, and then rebooted the computer, and this is the screen I was met with. Now there is a problem with this screen. So like I said, I have a multi-boot setup, so this grub bootloader here did not detect Nobara or Cache, which is installed on this computer. Now that's something for you guys to note. For me, it's not a deal breaker. I know how to fix these things, and also I have alternate bootloaders. For example, I could switch to the Nobara bootloader, which detects CashOS as well, and also I could just add in the proper menu entries into the bootloader myself manually. But that is something to note. Now from here it'll boot up for the first time. This is the login screen. Very nice and clean looking. Okay, so from this point I switched over from my screen capture tool, and this video is recorded using Simple Screen Recorder, so it's recording the desktop. Now I did a few steps before this that's not in this video, but you'll see here in the terminal, this is my history. So these are the commands that I entered. First I updated it, and then I installed a few apps such as Flatpak, the GNOME Software Center, a plugin, a Flatpak plugin for the Software Center, Genie, and HTOP. Then in line number 3, I added the Flatpak repo. So also, before this video, as you can see, I clicked on here and here to install Firefox and Parole Media Player. There was no browser installed from the start, but you have a few options down here. I chose Firefox. Okay, so from the Peppermint Hub, you got a few options here. This part here is highlighted out, that's Flatpak. So I guess if you install it, it no longer appears in there for some reason. I don't know, to be honest, but before Flatpak was here, there was an icon for Flatpak. But anyways, also as a demonstration here, I also installed Simple Screen Recorder from the GNOME Software Center. And as you can see right here, it's installed. And if I wanted to open it, I would just have to click that. Although it's already running in the background in this video. This is just for your demonstration. So that's basically everything I installed in the system so far. So you got a link to some documentation. So here you got a link to some log files. Okay, so here's just a quick overview of the apps installed. It's a very minimal installation of Debian 12, so there's not a lot of apps out of the box, which I like. I do like it being minimal and having the ability to add my own apps. Okay, so that was a brief overview of PeppermintOS. I like the style of it. It's very sleek and minimal. There are a few issues I do have with it. One being the bootloader screen did not detect my other operating systems, Kashi and Nobara. The second is I don't think this is as user-friendly as something like a Linux Mint or MX Linux. Those two operating systems, they'll ask you if you want to install third-party codecs and NVIDIA drivers out of the box. This one does not do that, so you'll have to figure that yourself. But overall, I'm pretty impressed with this distribution. I'm going to play around with it a little more. I can't attest to the long-term stability of it, but so far so good. Now, if you enjoyed this video or found it educational, please give it a like. But I think that's going to be all for today. And until next time, guys, take care, everybody.